I feel often that this terrible feeling of being alone, of being ashamed, of being in the closet.
So many people go without the care that they need because they don't want to disclose, they don't want to be outed.
Our country's senior population is growing rapidly, with baby boomers already in their 60s. If you're a staff person or volunteer who does home visits for Meals on Wheels in-home support services or another service, please know that a percentage of the seniors you will be visiting are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender, whether or not they have told you about it. Staff and volunteers who do home visits and assessments are probably all committed to treating everyone equally. However, doing this for LGBT seniors means using an intentionally inclusive approach. These seniors often require a layer of trust that differs from that of non-LGBT seniors, and even differs from LGBT youth. In recent years, LGBT people have made significant advances within American society. Despite this, LGBT seniors often still carry trauma and fear, rooted in decades of harsh repression. It's easy to forget that their experience of coming of age and maturing into adults happened in a much different time, a time when LGBT people were stigmatized. In the 20th century, fear, discrimination, and secrecy dominated the experience of being LGBT. When our current seniors were growing up, and even throughout middle age, LGBT people could legally be jailed, fired from their jobs, evicted from their homes, expelled from their churches, or have their children taken away. Many experienced repeated day-to-day alienation, imposed by people around them and even self-imposed in order to keep a job or stay safe.
We stayed in the closet because of our jobs.
I was the director of a nonprofit social agency and fearful of being discovered at one point,
Most of their life has probably been spent hiding in some capacity, whether it's from their landlord, their boss, their nosy neighbors. I imagine in some ways it's probably actually easier to hide than it is to be out, which is very different generationally.
I depended on my neighbors. I didn't know how they felt about gay people, and so I just hopped right back in the closet.
In the current generation of LGBT seniors, many did not have children. Because of this, and because some were alienated from their families of origin, LGBT seniors are less likely to have anyone to care for them, and are more likely to live in poverty, be socially isolated, and have unresolved health issues.
At least 10% of the population is LGBT. Even small towns everywhere has a community.
That is why it is so very important to convey the message that they can be safe in opening up to you. The first and perhaps most important general practice is simply this. Remember to never assume every senior is heterosexual, and never forget any senior could be transgender.
I don't know what LGBT is.
The term LBG means nothing to me. I've never heard it before, really.
Terminology is something many people worry about, so we tackle that first. What we tell you about LGBT and the acronyms used here in this video reflects how this community's members currently identify. Terminology may not hold true in 5 years or may have evolved differently in different parts of the country, so flexibility is a good thing. Most often, though, you will hear simply LGBT or LGBTQ. It is certainly a best practice to use one of these when talking with a senior. We recommend starting with LGBT. It is easy to remember and a good opening as it shows you understand them from the get-go. LGBT people may never reveal their identities and of course should never be pressured to do so. But if your client opens up, you can ask what term they prefer. If the acronym is hard for you to remember and you make a mistake, it's okay to let them know you're learning.
I say I'm gay. That's how I identify myself.
I've always thought of myself as bisexual.
I'm a dyke.
There isn't too many straighter people than myself.
Even though I'm an FDM, I'm straight.
Identify as gay.
I identify as lesbian.
There needs to be respect for how people identify themselves. And when people identify proudly and create a community and have struggled as hard as these seniors have just to be recognized as LGBT and to have their partnerships respected and recognized, to then dismiss that and assume that they don't identify a certain way is so disrespectful and demoralizing.
The L is for lesbian, women who are attracted to other women. Gay is most commonly used to describe men who are attracted to other men. You may hear some people, especially seniors, use it to refer to everyone in the non-heterosexual community. Bisexuals are attracted to both men and women to varying degrees. Some bisexuals may feel not quite accepted or even discriminated against by both LGBT people and heterosexuals. The T for transgender means presenting or identifying one's gender as other than one's gender at birth.
Trans folks are folks who were born in a gender that they don't believe represents them, that they don't belong in their gender. And that presents tremendous hurdles, especially for this population.
Someone in this group, born male, will feel the need to live life as a woman or express themselves as such. Transgender can also refer to anyone who is transitioning in the process of becoming another gender through hormone therapy, surgery, or through general self-acceptance. Some may have physical elements of their birth physicality as well as their transitional physicality. Some have surgery, others do not or cannot. They also may have special medication requirements. Some may have changed their names, including on their driver's license or birth certificate. Whatever way they identify in pronouns, gender must be honored. We cannot stress this enough. Every human deserves to feel genuine and comfortable with their external appearance and expression. It is extremely isolating and a mistreatment to dismiss someone's authentic identity.
When they want to be called a she or a he, you respect that and you tell your staff and you make notes, and regardless of what you think.
Gender identity is independent of sexual orientation. For example, a transgender person may identify as heterosexual, bisexual, or homosexual, or elsewhere on the traditional continuum. Finally, transgender people may not identify as transgender at all, but simply as male or female. Those who cross-dress or wear drag are not necessarily transgender. Those of any sexual orientation might do this. Next, let's look at the word queer, which is what the Q typically stands for in LGBTQ.
Queer was a bad word when I was first coming out.
I had enough experience in my early life with people saying, hey, he's a queer. That stuff right there, that experience of the hatred that was behind that. The word's very loaded from back in those years.
It was done in a demeaning manner to make someone feel less than a human being. But I'm glad that the young people took that word and turned it around.
For many younger people, queer usually means all or any of the above. But for people who came of age prior to the mid-1970s, queer can feel derisive because it was used for decades as an insult. As a result, many, though not all, older LGBT seniors don't use the word, nor do they like to be considered or referred to as queer. So abstain from that term, just to be safe. The term homosexual is still used in clinical or formal instances, such as research or comparing homosexual behavior to heterosexual behavior, for example, and some elders may refer to themselves as such. However, in direct communication, it's considered inappropriate to ask someone if they are a homosexual. Coming out or coming out of the closet means letting other people know that one is LGBT. This can be a painful process for some and joyful for others, depending on their level of support and other circumstances. It's important to remember that this has led many LGBT elders to have families of choice, meaning friends and others who are their primary systems.
High school was hard, not knowing anybody else and having these feelings that really didn't have a word.
I had big challenges with my family of origin in Wisconsin.
People would stare at me. Look at that. Look at it. What is it? Is it a man? Is it a woman? And I internalized all that.
If you're from the Panhandle of Texas in the 50s, 60s, you're not gay, you just mess around and you get married. You have to get married.
I've seen a lot of people call gay people all kinds of names and do stuff to them, and I don't think that's right.
It has been so hard. It has been such a battle for them to come out, that to be in a place where they have to announce and tell who they are, that's just not going to feel safe for them. They're in such a vulnerable situation.
Some seniors today may have come out and lived life out, but have recently felt the need to go back in the closet, that is, hide their identities. This phenomenon is common when an LGBT senior begins to feel vulnerable with age and starts to rely more on others. They naturally feel the need to protect themselves from possible caregiver reactions, ranging from lack of respect to physical or emotional abuse. If an LGBT senior has a home visit scheduled, it is not uncommon for them to make sure there is no evidence that might show they are LGBT, even putting away photographs they might usually have displayed.
It's a hard thing to think about and think about ending up in that situation.
Your non-discrimination policy must include LGBT cultural sensitivity training, so everyone there understands why and how to serve this population. The policies and procedures used in LGBT welcoming services should be emphasized in new hire orientations. Wear a rainbow pin when you do your visits as a quiet but immediate symbol to LGBT seniors that they can speak freely. Conveying the importance of confidentiality is an essential part of such training. Someone may state that for religious or other reasons, they prefer not to participate in LGBT sensitivity trainings. This will likely become a barrier to LGBT seniors accessing services. Again, tolerating LGBT individuals feels like active discrimination to the person being tolerated.
Folks say, you know what, I don't care what they do in their bedroom is their own thing. I think that completely diminishes them, and I think it also really highlights that when we think about LGBT seniors or LGBT folks in general, we get really stuck on a very small part of their relationship.
I always want to expand the conversation from how's sex going, or what do you do with sex, or what. That is such a small part of what our relationship is about.
Paperwork and forms are some of the most important ways in which your clients initially communicate with you. Is there space for people to check their gender identity as something other than male or female, including transgender, intersex, or other? Do they include questions about sexual orientation? Not everyone will disclose, but if they do, it will make interviewing more comfortable for everyone. Are there options for those who are in long-term relationships but not married, such as significant other or same-sex partner? This generation may just refer to their partner as boyfriend, girlfriend, or simply roommate, which may be all they have been allowed in the past and something they may have grown accustomed to. When conducting a needs assessment, ask open-ended questions that focus on behaviors and support systems. For example, tell me about the people you consider to be among your closest friends and significant others. In general, all seniors should be asked about their support system rather than children, or about their partner rather than spouse. If you do use the word spouse, then you should also say partner. For example, do you have a partner or spouse?
First thing they said to me, do you live alone? And I said, I'm a widow. And when did your husband die? And I said, 3 years ago.
For these folks especially who have been ostracized by family, probably lost jobs in their life, maybe kicked out of the military, and really had to struggle even to be recognized with their partner, that this is really their identity.
The following are enactments of what might be typical home visits. The first version shows the assessor handling the situation in a way that breaks down trust, causing the client to be overly cautious about revealing information. The second version models mindful and respectful behavior, which builds trust in a way that will make the assessments productive, leading to the likelihood of better health outcomes. Here are some possible situations that you may encounter.
Hi, I'm James. Here's your meal for today, and I'm here for the regular assessment we scheduled.
Thank you. Come on in, Gene.
Nice place you have here.
Thank you.
You live alone or with a husband?
Oh, I'm widowed.
So sorry to hear that. When did he pass away?
A few years ago.
Okay. Now let's talk about your health. Do you eat 3 meals a day?
I'm fine. I'm doing fine. How long do you think this is going to take?
Let's try that again.
Hi.
Hi, I'm James. Here's your meal for today, and I'm here for the regular assessment we scheduled.
Come on in.
Nice place you have here.
Thank you.
You live alone or with a partner, family, or a friend?
I'm widowed. My girlfriend and I were together for about 25 years, but she passed away recently.
Oh, so sorry to hear that.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Hi, Jean.
Hi, Sophie. Thank you for bringing this.
Of course. It's good to see you.
You too.
Everything okay? Oh, sorry. Hang on one second. I gotta get this. Hi, George. Yeah, I'm out delivering meals. I'm with Jean. You know, I told you about him. Okay, I'll call you right back. Bye. Sorry about that. It's my mom's friend. I'm helping him move today.
I'm not a guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought, oh, my bad. You know, I'm gonna run and I'll see you next week, okay?
Let's try that again.
Oh, sorry, hang on a second. I have to take this. Hi, George. Yeah, I'm out delivering meals now. I'm with Jean. Okay, I'll call you back then. Bye. Sorry about that. It's my mom's friend. I'm helping him move.
That's okay.
Jean, I'm so sorry. I never asked you, which pronoun do you prefer?
She and her are fine.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that with me.
Thank you for asking.
I just suggest that they get to know me better.
Try and let people open up to you as to who they are.
Get the conversation going and then keep it going, because that's when people change.
See what things I cry about and what things I'm happy about, and realize that those things are coming from a gay person.
I'd just be so glad when films like this will be put in a museum and people say, you know what? How did they survive that? How did they survive those times? I'm 67 now. Hopefully the next generation will not have to go through this.
LGBT is a huge umbrella term. It's not just about sexual orientation. It can also be about gender. Remember that people are people. Each individual is a unique person with unique interests, styles, skills, and experiences, just the same as anyone. Everyone wants to be safe and visible.